myself, delving into creepy stories, true crime stories, unsolved mystery stories, but no story got my attention and directly impacted me as much as this story did. Being from Wales myself, I was shocked to find out that this event happened only a few hours' drive from my house. It is a story that is disturbing, but very thought-provoking. Sit tight.
On Saturday, September 30th, 2017, a shocking discovery was made at Plas Talgarth Country Club in West Wales. One night, staff members at the country club noticed a water leak coming from one of the many bungalows on the site. These bungalows rest upon a beautiful Welsh hillside and are mostly vacation rentals. The staff members immediately reported the leak, and shortly after, 2 maintenance workers were sent to investigate. After knocking on the door to the property for some time, they assumed no one was home and were forced to gain entry using a master key. Upon entering the property, they called out to anyone that might have been inside, but again, no one answered. The maintenance workers scanned the kitchen on their left and the living room on their right, and everything seemed as it should. But still, no sign of anyone staying here. Along the corridor was a closed door which led to the bedroom. They knocked and went inside. Here they were met with an odd discovery. In this room were 2 beds, and at the foot of one bed was unopened luggage. Someone must have been staying here, but where were they? Continuing their inspection, they opened the ensuite door, the room they believed the leak was coming from, given the location in the building. And once they opened that door, they saw that the floor was completely flooded. This was definitely where the leak was coming from. There was a substantial leak, and they could even hear pouring from somewhere. Where exactly remained to be unknown. The bath and basin weren't overflowing, and there was no clear sign of damage to any of the plumbing itself. Everything seemed as it should, so there was only one more place to look, and that was the adjoining airing cupboard. They twisted the doorknob, opened the door, and what they found was something far worse than a leak. Here, they discovered the body of 60-year-old former policewoman Mary Isherwood. Together, Mary and her ex-husband owned this vacation home, but they were soon planning on selling the property. And because Mary had very rarely stayed there, she decided that she would enjoy a vacation there before any deals were finalized. Originally, she planned to go there with a few friends, but once the time came, they had all cancelled on her. Mary decided, however, that she would still go, but alone. She would arrive at the property late that night, put her bag down at the foot of one of the beds, grab a swimsuit and go straight to the pool. She was very much into her fitness and loved to swim. After this, she would jump in the shower, and without unpacking her clothes, she would go straight to sleep. Sometime in the middle of the night, Mary got out of her bed to use the bathroom, and in a half-conscious daze, she wandered back to the bedroom, or at least she thought. Instead, walked herself into the adjoining airing cupboard. Once she closed the door on herself, she realized her mistake and turned round to get out, only to have the doorknob break apart in her hands. The room was completely dark, and it would have been near impossible to find and reassemble the broken parts in order to open the door. She was trapped. Panic must have struck at this point, and Mary cried out for help, but soon realized that no one was coming. She instinctively tried to break down the door, but this proved to be hopeless and quickly turned to other measures. She would turn around and rip apart the wooden shelving in the airing cupboard and use a piece to strike the door. This too was looking to be ineffective, so frantically she began hitting the wall next to the door. At some point, she would discover that the wall slowly broke away with every strike, and for some time she worked to burrow a hole through the wall. Maybe she thought she could even break through completely, or at least get her hand through to open the door from the other side. But at some point, Mary realized that she would need a more robust tool. She looked around her, but the only thing there in the cupboard were shelves, towels, and a hot water cylinder. Mary decided to grab on to the pipework connected to the cylinder and rip off a section in order to use as a stronger tool. This resulted in a fountain of continuous cold water running down on her. If the boiler would have been calling for heat at this time, she could have had scorching water raining down on her, but still, wet, cold, and naked, Mary used her new tool to continue burrowing through the wall. She made good progress and things must have been looking promising, until she was met with a shocking discovery: an impenetrable brick wall. She couldn't get through. Her heart must have been racing, not only from exhaustion, but from the panic this new discovery brought on. So quickly, she started striking a different wall. A wall that she knew would lead straight into her bedroom if only she could get through. She gave it everything she had and kept frantically burrowing through. Again, progress was slowly being made, but energy was running low. This could be her last attempt of freedom, as the cold water was making the struggle so much more unbearable. Mary was going into a state of hypothermia. Strike after strike, using everything she had, the familiar dull sound of thudding while she hit this wall changed. It changed to a higher pitched noise. This could only mean one thing: another solid wall. She was officially trapped. It was over. She knew at this point it was the end and there was no escape. No one could hear her screams. Mary would sadly end her struggle here and was found dead days later. Upon investigation, it was discovered that Mary's last blow onto that solid wall wasn't a solid wall at all. In fact, the sound of that solid wall she thought she hit was the back of a picture frame that had been screwed to the other side of the wall in the bedroom. If Mary had gathered the strength and the belief to strike that solid wall one more time, she could have very easily broken free at that point. It's so sad that the noise she heard symbolized the end of all hope. She conceded defeat, and her perception was that of simply being doomed. In her head, it was time to drop the pipe and stop trying, when in reality, she made it through. She was free. It should have been a time of absolute hysteric happiness and so much relief to have made it through that struggle alive. But instead, she was tricked to believe that freedom was impossible. Whenever you feel like giving up, please remember this story of Mary Isherwood and how you too could be just one more push away. My deepest sympathies go out to Mary's family and friends. There's no way I can understand the pain that you guys have gone through, and hope that you don't mind me sharing this story. Thanks for listening.